Hello snowboarders of the internet, I'm your host Avran LeFeber, and in this video we'll be reviewing the Ride A-10. I rode this binding at Copper Mountain on a sunny bluebird day with average temps, zero wind, you had perfect corduroy, and there was a little bit of chop and chunder if you went looking for it, and I rode it on my Ride Shadow Band snowboard with my K2 Thraxis boots. Starting on the high back, you have the forward lean, and that is on a screw, so you're gonna have to loosen that up to slide it down or push it up to get it where you want to. And then underneath that, you actually have the ability to rotate the high back in the heel cup, and that is located on the area where the screws go through the straps. And if you do rotate the high back to make it parallel to your heel edge, you can also kind of manipulate it in this little slide track in there to either lower or raise where the heel strap sits on the boot. It's not a lot of adjustment, but if you play around with it, you can get that to tweak a little bit. Then you have flip tabs on the heel and the toe. You pop those up, you can push them in, pull them back out to kind of center them over your boot. The toe ramp can actually be slid out or pushed back just a little bit. And finally, if you absolutely want to, you can swap out the metal discs for plastic ones. This will give it a little bit more play underfoot. It's personal preference. But if you are buying this binding, you're buying this to charge, I would just ride the metal discs. It's gonna be more rigid and it's gonna be more fluid flex with it versus having this softer disc where it can actually laterally play around if you do decide to swap it that way. The heel strap is a molded strap. There's a little bit of padding to it just with the material that they use, but by and large, most of that is actually gonna come from your boot. It does have a decent cutout. It's very small and it's got this rigid exoskeleton through the middle. This is gonna lock you in and hold you down. The toe strap is kind of the same. You got a little bit of give where the cutout is, and there's that rubber polyurethane right through there. That's gonna have a little bit more give for you as well. This toe strap will really fit a ride boot best, but if you have a more pointy toe, it shouldn't be a problem. Just really blunted out ones might give you a slight issue. The ratchets are absolutely dialed on the A-10. They climb well. That one finger quick release works exactly how you want them to. There is next to no play in them. They just lock in, they work well. You can grip them with a mitten, with a glove. They will crank. You want to get them into that last click like TC, go for it. These things are absolutely dialed. All right, so we're about halfway through this video. I don't know where Ben's putting this in, but you know what I need you to do? Go down and give this video a thumbs up. And while you're down there, if you haven't subscribed, why don't you do that? Click the bell, get those notifications. That way you're not missing any of the programming we've got coming out for you. With the high back, they went for a very slender design so that it matches up to the boot spine. There's no excess material and it's very rigid. Like, you feel that power the second you roll back on your heel side edge. There's not a lot of give, but with it being very minimal, you don't have to worry about it getting in the way if you're tweaking or anything. With the forward lean adjustment, it is on a set screw, so you know you've got to set that up before you get out on the mountain. It's really going to be locked down. You can't adjust that on the fly. That's not a bad thing, because with a binding like this, you just want it set. You want to forget about it. You want to get out and just charge. This is the stiffest binding that Ride makes, and it shows. It's aggressive and it's an aluminum chassis. While it is narrower than, say, a C chassis, even though they got rid of the C10 series, it still gives you some lateral roll out of it. But by and large, this binding is just designed for pure power. When you drive into the toe edge, you feel it. When you drive back in the heel edge, it's there. Even with that slight binding roll, it's there. And with the disc being metal, you just feel that power underfoot. Sure, you could swap it out for a plastic disc to give you a little bit more, but why would you? You want the power out of this. To an extent, this binding is damp. You've got those pods under your foot in the footbed to just give you more dampening. You can really feel those urethane pods under the toe and the heel, and you do have that little gusset under the bottom of the chassis here as well. But with it being aluminum, any kinetic energy is amplified and you're gonna feel that underfoot. So if you're charging through a mogul field of death and it gets really chundery, you're gonna feel it for sure. That's just how it is. You're gonna give up some of that dampness for more precision and more power with this binding. Rider in mind, this binding is 100% for the hard charging free ride guy that wants a lot of response. Like what we're doing over here? Want to support us further? Swing on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP and become a member. Sure, I could tell you more here, but I got a video over there that explains it so much better. This is a very responsive binding. You feel that toe to heel as well as nose to tail. Even with some lateral play, just because of the shape of the chassis of this, you do still have a ton of power. The straps have power, the high back has power. It's an aggressive binding. What I don't like about this binding is that it's full aluminum. I'm just not an aluminum binding kind of guy. All that chatter, all that kinetic energy, it reverberates, and you feel it at the end of the day in your ankles, your knees, your hip, and your lower back. If you're one of those guys, you're a little older, you're still out there crushing it, but you're worried about, you know, kinetic energy, something that's just gonna make you more tired at the end of the day, this is the downfall of this binding. But if you're okay with that and you're looking to charge super aggressively, yeah, this is one of the best ones out there right now, in my opinion. Comparable bindings: the bent metal solution, the Union Atlas Pro, the Nitro Phantom Plus. This has been my review of the Ride A-10. If you're picking up a pair, why don't you go watch my video on how to get these dialed in before you hit the slopes. That way, you're all set when you want to go aggressively charge.